Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Uncle Matt's Cookery Lessons. There's the recipe for Seafood Tajine. There's a lot going on, but it's not that difficult to make. That's what it's going to look like if you follow these instructions. So, Tagine, everybody knows it. Is it spelt with a J or a G? I don't know, I spell mine with a T. Those are the ingredients, lots and lots and lots of them, but it's actually quite easy to do. I've saved a bit of time by chopping up my onions and stuff, and if you want to balance your tomato puree on top of your tin tomatoes, apparently that's very good luck. Honest. So, I want to make a bit of fish stock, but I already have some fish stock, but I'm going to add to it with, these are the heads and the shells from the prawns, what I did already separate. A little bit of my onions and celery, and I'm going to put a little bit of garlic in there as well. I'm going to make a little stock, but I also had, you'll see in a moment, some fish stock that I've made before, and I froze it down, and it would come in handy one day. That's the trimmings of the onion going in, bits of thyme, probably bay leaf, there it goes if I remember rightly. I'm just going to sweat those for a moment. You can already see them turning pink. And that's the fish stock that I made on the 15th of December 1976. What? I can't be 43 years old. Got a very good freezer. Now, I made that last year. I don't know why I put 1976 on it. But in it goes with a little bit of water. Going to give that 15 to 20 minutes just to extract some extra flavour from those lovely prawn bits. But I will share a link in the video in the description to a video I made where I made the fish stock. It's quite a long video because I prepare an entire sea bass, but you can always skip forward a bit. Making the actual tagine. If you don't have a tagine, I don't, and I'm too scared to even think about using one because I imagine it just cracking on top of the gas. You can use a saucepan. What I'm going to do later is I'm going to put a lid on it, but not put it on fully. And in my mind, that's recreating that sort of chimney. So my vegetables have gone in, some few whole spices, and that is baharat, which is a blend of pretty much all the spices that you would expect to find in North African cooking. So I thought, why not use that? Bit of saffron, because why not? If you don't like some of the spices that would go in there, refer to the recipe. It shows you what they would normally be. Just use the individual spices. It's completely up to you. But that was 2 very heaped teaspoons. I'm going to sweat that for a total of about 5 minutes. I want to get the vegetables to soften slightly. Bit of a fond developing on the bottom of the pan, which is all good as long as it doesn't burn. That's good. At some stage we're going to need to put some liquid in this. And I've got this on a medium heat. Okay, tomatoes, decent quality, plum tomatoes, 1 can of. And I just like to break mine down a bit. And then whenever I use a tin of tomatoes, I usually swill the tin with a bit of tap water, not to waste any of it, and also a little bit of extra liquid is fine. Those are dried apricots. Dried fruit is synonymous with this style of cooking. I left mine whole because my lady doesn't like them, so I thought if I leave them whole she can just pick them out. So those prawn shells have done their job. We've got a nice extra bit of flavour to the fish stock. You can always use fish stock cube if you like. Just be aware of the salt levels when you do that sort of stuff. Forgot to show you me adding the tomato puree, but I just popped that in as well. And that's what I was referring to with the lid. Just leave it slightly ajar. That I think will recreate the chimney effect you have on the actual tagine pot. Okay, I decided not to use coriander again because coriander is a very unpopular herb in this house. So I've gone for some parsley and mint. Dithered there for a minute. Not sure which one do I put on top. Does it really matter? You're just going to chop them up. And I'm not going to chop them finely. I don't want to bruise these herbs. I want to slice them. So make sure your knife is nice and sharp. I'm not going ultra fine here. Just keep those reserved for later. Okay, this is preserved lemons. You can buy them. I made these, but I never did a video for it, but I should do again one day when I've used these up. Basically, you just sort of cut lemons into quarters, reserve them in sea salt in a jar for ages. Move the jar around every now and again, and that will preserve them. But all I want is the zesty bit with maybe a tiny bit of the pith, but be careful, obviously that is bitter. Couscous. This stuff is so easy to make. This is like instant couscous, not the stuff you have to steam. Just put it in a bowl. Put some seasoning in there. You can do this with stock if you like. I'm just going to use water, but then we've got salt, pepper, olive oil. I put the olive oil on first, and I like to rough that about to sort of try to evenly coat each individual grain. And this is not a pulse. This is basically pasta. It's semolina bits. And how much water you put in? Just till you cover it. Just covered. Cover that. In 5 or 10 minutes time, you have lovely fluffy couscous ready to go. Dead easy. 10 minutes later, it is done. And the whole time we've been doing that, obviously my tagine, the stew, has been cooking away nice and gently. So just give that a little fluff up with a fork and keep it covered, and that will stay ready for ages. Don't worry about it being piping hot when you serve it, it's not necessary. Okay, this is the fish I've decided to go for. You could just buy a packet of fish bits if you like. It's really what you like. That was haddock. And I've decided I want to cut it into fork-sized pieces. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then with the prawns, obviously you've got to do the right thing and you've got to get the bits of horrible stuff out from it. You know, its vein, its tract. I've already done a few there. You can see the showing you where that vein is. You can see the bits on the board that I've already taken out. But this is how you do it. Just a small incision in the back and there. And if you look on the underside of them, sometimes there's a bit of vein on the inner side as well. So just, it's for your eating pleasure later on. Your guests will know that you've done the right thing there. Okay, that has been simmering away. We've got an awful lot of flavour in there. Those extra bits of herbs and spices have done their trick as well, so let's get those out. That's why I left them in big pieces, you see. It's easy to find them and get them out later. Sort of easy. Where is it? There it is. And did I put one bay leaf in or two? There it is. Okay, so that's out, and believe me, the house smells amazing, and I was doing this in the morning as well. Have a taste. There's always time to adjust your seasoning later on, but it's looking really nice. Okay, let's get the rest of the ingredients in. Those are pitted olives. I recommend that, or get a good dental plan if you're going to use the ones with stones in. At the last minute, I pumped the brakes on how much of this lemon to use. I knew it was a little bit bitter, so I went easy. You can always scatter a bit on later on. That was the flaked almonds, and again I thought I'll keep a little bit of those back for later for the final presentation. And then goes the fish, and I was thinking I'll do the white fish for a couple of minutes and then maybe put the prawns, and then I was thinking, hang on a minute, that fish is going to cook in no time at all, so I'm going to quickly bosh in with the prawns as well. And when you're doing this, obviously cooking fish in liquid, the rule is do it slow. Make sure your heat is on a lowish heat so it's barely simmering. If you boil it at this stage, you're going to have rubbery fish. And no, that is not a compliment in a Chinese restaurant. Don't be rude. Right, so that's had a couple of minutes away. Let's see how they're looking. That one doesn't look quite ready, still a bit grey. Not sure what happened there. Flip it over, get it back under the liquid. but on closer inspection, all the others are ready. So I think that was just one odd one out there. Final seasoning. Always good to leave your seasoning till later on when you're cooking. You can add more, but you can't take it away. And this is the point where I put this lovely fresh mint and parsley in. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the tagine done. Plate this up, shall we? I think a bowl is a good idea. Scatter a bit of our lovely fluffy couscous in the bowl. And then dollop a load of stew on top of it. Beautiful. There you go, I decided because it's for me, a few extra bits of the lemon zest. Some of those almonds that we promised. And there we go. That's looking lovely. Can't wait to get stuck into it. Thank you very much for watching Uncle Matt's Cookery Lessons once more. I hope you like this one. Hope you like to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done already. And I'm gonna get stuck into this now. And what I forgot to do was take my my photographs that I normally do. So I had to then plate up another one. But I got carried away because I started getting stuck into this, and I thought, well, that's rough on this. And it was by far the nicest tagine I've ever had. And I think that's probably because of maybe the baharat mixture. Maybe they get the spices right. That was a little bit hard to manage, the whole apricot, so I'll be cutting the rest of those up with my fork before I eat them, because I don't know, a whole apricot like that is not very nice in one go. Feel free to leave those out if you don't like these dried fruit. But that was it. That was delicious for breakfast. Anyway, that's it. Thank you ever so much for watching again. I'll see you in the next one soon. Bye.